There we go. Make sure you make it till tomorrow morning. We'll come out tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock and put them in these cages here and carry them to the slaughterhouse, and then they'll all be killed by about 8:30, and then we'll process them so they don't have much time to sit around and worry about things.
If I sold this calf to you and we had a bill of sale and you bought the whole calf in, and then you could hire me to take it to the slaughterhouse and then you could go pick up the meat. People who really want high quality food are able to get it still from places like ours where we have 20 cows. We raise, a handful of veal calves at a time, and so we can feed people food from animals that are out on the grass, all day. Well, this is Jackal. She's 13. She's our oldest cow. Would you let me pet you? Huh? Here you go. Their breath smells really sweet and yummy. That means she likes it. So this is the chuck. This is where you'd get your chuck steaks. And then when we have them harvested, we save the tenderloin and have that cut up into steaks. And then everything else gets turned into either hamburger or stew meat, and hopefully hot dogs soon.
I know that they had a happy life, and this was, their purpose, and they're helping sustain me and my family just because we're eating it. She makes food for us, and she'll be food too.
They're very fragile, turkeys are, as children. So, that's part of the farming thing, is to, sometimes make compromises, I guess.
That's one thing I've always thought with people who, are vegans or vegetarians or whatever, all right, so you don't eat meat, but therefore we're not going to raise animals, and therefore those animals aren't even going to have a chance to live. And at least, we give our pigs and our chickens, many weeks of relatively happy life, I think, and that's something.
To save them, you really have to make them economically viable. But, to do that, then you usually have to sell the meat.
Well, there's no economic incentive in raising a pig unless you're going to eat it. I mean, they don't do much else. Maybe pigskins for footballs, but...
The pigs are very intelligent animals, and every year it gets harder for me to think of raising them and slaughtering them, Jack reminds me that if we didn't raise pigs, then if we were all vegetarians, then they probably wouldn't have had a life at all. So, how you doing, guys? Now these guys are so healthy and happy.
I think I feel more comfortable eating our meat because I know how it was raised and how it lived. So many terrible things happen at slaughterhouses and feedlots, and not just the slaughter itself, but the whole process of living. Animals are constrained. They can't move around, do what they're naturally designed to do.
They can become aware of how the animals are treated, what's a poor treatment of animals like factory farms, and what's a good way of life.
I don't like to use the word factory farm. I think that, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, what does it really mean?
If you're buying your milk out of the store and you don't know what's happening to those calves and it's a factory situation, you are participating in that process anyway.
And I think that the word factory farm was made to create a lot of angry emotions and sell books.
A lot of vegetarians will say, well, they eat cheese and drink milk and things. Well, that's fine as long as they realize that in the process a calf has been born and something has happened to that calf.
To get milk, you need to have a cow be pregnant and have the baby. Just like with women, you need lactation. And so we raise all the heifers, but the bulls we don't have a use for.
And the mothers would say, well, how do you get a cow to have milk? And they'd be standing there, sometimes with a baby in their arms or something, and they're asking this question. Where, yeah, they just look at animals as an entirely different thing, like a tree or something. I don't know, but
It's a mammal like you, lady.
Yeah.
It lactates. Simply come to the realization that your food doesn't come in plastic wrap, you know?
The image that's out there for the rest of all of humanity as to how they get their food, how the animals are treated, how the people are treated. A little too industrialized in my opinion, but it does serve a purpose to bring a lot of food to a lot of people with relatively little cost, but it cheapens it too much in a lot of ways, so I don't think it's worth the cost.
The other day we killed some, we used that garbage can.
Should people see where their food comes from?
They should see where their food comes from.
They usually don't see their moms after they're born.
We'll grab the chicken by the feet, hang it from a cord, wrap it around its feet. And what I was taught, and seems to work, is to take a sharp knife, insert it through the mouth into the, there's a little slit in the top of the mouth, and through that slit you can go directly to the brain, and you insert it into that slit and you kind of scrape the brain away from the skull. And what I was told was that totally disorganizes the animal. It's like cutting its head off, I guess, in the sense that it is no longer capable of rational thought. Pain, who knows? We don't know that for sure. But that's what I've been told is the most humane way to do it, is to take the pain center away so that the animal isn't suffering.
No mercy, you're going to have to hold this bird very firm.